Black Critic Guy, back with a brand new top 10 list. Well, actually, it's not really a top 10 list because there's more than 10 choices, but basically I'm back with an all-new list-based video. I do apologize that I didn't make a top 10 list last week. I kind of got preoccupied with other work and I also got lazy as I usually do, but hey! Better late than never, am I right? And since my last top 10 list where I counted down all the anime that I constantly rewatch was so successful, I thought to myself, why don't I do the same thing for movies and TV shows that I constantly find myself rewatching? So I decided, what the hell? I might as well do the same list for both movies and TV shows. Make it a trilogy, so to speak. Huh. Yeah, that doesn't sound half bad. The BCG Top 10 Rewatch Trilogy. Kinda has a nice ring to it, don't you think? And to kickstart the sequel to the BCG Top 10 Rewatch Trilogy, even though this addition to the trilogy is the only one that's more than 10 choices, I proudly present my top 20 films that I constantly rewatch. And I must say, this list might be the most difficult list I've constructed for all of top 10 month. I'm not even joking. It was so hard, guys, because I came up with close to 40 films that I constantly rewatched over my life, and it was so hard to pick which one would actually make it on the list. In fact, it was so hard that I had to make it top 20 because I just felt it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to all the other films that I do constantly rewatch and I praise for being great films. To just dwindle it down to 10 just wouldn't do it any justice. Not to mention how big the honorable mentions part. It's almost as long as the list itself. 18 honorable mentions, 20 choices on the top 20. I mean, of course, it's called top 20. But anyway, here are a few of the honorable mentions. Unforgiven, 7, Lilo and Stitch, Django Unchained, The Departed, Tropic Thunder, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, My Neighbor Totoro, Green Mile, Monsters Inc., Saw, Jurassic Park, True Grit, Doctor Strangelove, Taken, The Lego Movie, and finally, This Is the End. You know, I just realized how appropriate that last choice was. I didn't even do that on purpose, guys. It was totally unintentional. But with all of the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get to the list, shall we? Kicking some ass in the number 20 spot is The Raid Redemption, a film that I still profess as being one of the best and most thrilling action films I've ever seen. And you would think that after seeing the same sort of action scenes over and over and over again that you would grow sick and tired of them. But for me, that wasn't the case with The Raid Redemption. Every time I see the action scenes in this film, I feel like I'm just getting my ass kicked at how fun and exhilarating they were. The score was memorable and truly complements the film. The cinematography is some of the best cinematography I've ever seen in an action film, in that there's very little shaky cam. You can see the action unfolding in front of you without the camera having to shake all the goddamn time. The direction is on point. Again, the action, just the way that they choreograph the fights, I mean, it's never a dull time, guys. Whenever I want to see a kick-ass action film, The Raid Redemption is always my go-to. Always my go-to. Having a thought-provoking discussion in the number 19 spot is 12 Angry Men. And I bet a majority of you watching this video right now are probably scratching your head saying to yourself, what is this film called? 12 Angry Men? I've never heard of 12 Angry Men, Tony. What the hell kind of film is this? And I can believe that. This is a classic film made back in 1957, nearly 60 years ago. And if you're not a huge cinephile like myself, you probably have never heard of this film in your entire life. But this is one of the best films I've ever seen. It has probably the sharpest screenplay I've ever seen in a film. The entire film is dialogue-centric and it takes place mainly in one room and has all these 12 colorful characters arguing about whether or not this kid is innocent or guilty of killing his father. And the dialogue is just so intriguing and so engaging, you will not take your eyes off the screen. You're just gonna wanna know know how it all is going to unfold. Finding salvation in the number 18 spot is The Shawshank Redemption, a film about a man who gets wrongly accused of murder and is sentenced to life in prison, and his daily interactions with fellow inmates, prison guards, and the warden. This film has a very solid, compelling, and uplifting story with some powerhouse performances from both Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman respectively. In fact, to my recollection, this might have been the first film to utilize Morgan Freeman's sultry voice to narrate a majority of the film. Now, I could be wrong, he might have narrated another film before, I'm only human, but this is the first film I remembered that Morgan Freeman narrated a majority of it, and he did a really good job at narrating it. I think this might have caused the whole cliche of having Morgan Freeman narrate a lot of movies. It wasn't The March of the Penguins, it was Shawshank Redemption. And I also love the friendship between Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, and Red, played by Morgan Freeman. Not to mention, the film might quite possibly have one of the best crowd-pleasing conclusions ever. Like, I was so satisfied with the ending of this film. Like, everybody got their comeuppance, and it all ends happily for our main characters. Bringing Law and Order to the Wild Wild West is my number 17 choice. Tombstone. Still one of my all-time favorite westerns to watch. In fact, Tombstone holds the honor of being the film that made me really reconsider my opinions of the western genre. Because before seeing Tombstone, I hated the western genre. I thought it was boring, cliche, dull, forgettable, just by the numbers and old-fashioned, like something that my grandpa would like watching. But when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, they're talking, cattle wrangling, and doing shootouts, but I'm not really that engaged. And then freaking Tombstone came out of nowhere and slapped me in the face like, oh my god, a western can actually be fun and thrilling. But what truly made this such a great and unforgettable film isn't just the thrilling, engaging, fun, and well-executed action sequences slash shootouts, but it was the unforgettable, scene-stealing performance of Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. I mean, words cannot even begin to explain how phenomenal his performance was in this film. He literally shined brighter than any other element in this film. Traveling to Another World is my number 16 choice, Spirited Away. Widely considered to be one of the best films Studio Ghibli has ever made. From its beautiful and breathtaking animation, lovely score, creative story, unforgettable characters, solid voice acting, and great direction by Hayao Miyazaki, it's no wonder why this film won Best Animated Feature back in 2002. And it's also no surprise that I find myself coming back to this film time and time again to follow Chihiro, or Sen, and her adventures through the spirit world as she deals with different spiritual individuals and tries to save her parents from an ill fate. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted my number 15 choice to be Goodfellas. This film right here, undoubtedly one of my favorite gangster films ever, co-written and directed by one of my all-time favorite directors, Martin Scorsese. And you can bet your ass he brought his A game to this film. His directorial choices and style throughout the entire film is a stroke of genius. In fact, there's a shot in this film where it's just one whole continuous take where the character is leading his girlfriend through a restaurant, and it was actually one of the first continuous shots I've ever seen in the film, and it blew my freaking mind. I was like, wow, that actually looked really cool. And the acting, whoo! You can bet your ass there was some good acting in this film. I mean, when you have actors like Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci, who actually won an Academy Award for his role in this film, and he was probably the most memorable thing in this film. When you leave this film, you're thinking of Joe Pesci. You're thinking of that scene where it's like, well, how am I funny? How funny, or am I funny weird? Well, how funny am I? What kind of funny am I? Somebody once told me my number 14 choice was my good old friend and buddy named Shrek. Without any exaggeration, guys, Shrek was the one film I rewatched the most as a kid. I just couldn't get enough of it. I love Shrek, I love Donkey, I love the relationship, I love their banter, I love the humor, I love the adventure, I love Fiona, I love the relationship between Fiona and Shrek, I love fighting the dragon, I love this world. It was just so fascinating to me as a kid. I just had to keep coming back and back for more. Hell, I watched this film so much, I could recite entire scenes of the film, sing entire songs, and even do all of Donkey's bits. That's how much I love this film. In fact, I remembered as a kid, I would always reenact the final scene of the film where they're singing "I'm a Believer," and I saw her face. Ha! Now I'm a believer. What a fun and magical film Shrek was, and I still remember it fondly to this day. Spinning an intricate tale for you in the number 13 spot is The Usual Suspects. Now I know many of you might feel that after learning the twist in the film, much like the enigmatic character Kaiser Soze, you'll never watch this film again. I mean, the biggest surprise has already been shown to you, so you already know what to expect. But for me, it was quite different. Every time I went back to see this film, I learned something new. Every single time. It's one of those films that it's a different experience each time you watch it. And I just love how the story is structured, and it makes you question whether or not the story you're hearing right now is the real story or not. It keeps you guessing, it keeps you thinking, especially with that excellent twist at the end. One of the best movie twists I've ever seen. Jamming out in the number 12 spot is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. My goodness, this film. I can't, where do I even begin with this film? It's creative, it's fun, it's hilarious, it really appeals to nerd culture. I mean, it's just one of those rare films that come out that is just near perfection. Literally near perfection. It upsets me that it didn't do well at the box office, proving once again, this is why we can't have good things, because of you guys. Embarking on the longest movie journey of all time is my number 11 choice, The Lord of the Rings trilogy. And yes, I am combining all three films into one. They're all just pieces of the same story. They follow the same characters, going on the same journey, facing the same obstacles. It's just one whole film is just broken into three parts. That's all it is. And let me tell you, even though these films are hella long, it never really feels like that. As I get lost in the story, I get lost in the world, I get lost following these characters. It's so well written, well directed, well acted. It's just everything about it is well. In fact, not well. It's amazing. The score is actually one of my favorite fantasy scores of all time, and I just can't get enough of this film, guys. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, you know just how grand and epic of a scope the film is. And each and every time, I just find myself going back to Middle-earth, following Frodo and his friends as they embark to destroy the Ring of Power before Sauron comes back. It's just such a well put together film. Number 10. I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. My all-time favorite musical comedy. In fact, it just might be my all-time favorite musical, as I can't even think of another musical that had the same long-lasting and profound effect on me like Singing in the Rain. The film just left such an impression on me that I have never forgotten about it ever since. It's creative, it's colorful, it's memorable, the characters are likable, and it's freaking hilarious. I was surprised at how funny this film was. Even though this film was made more than 60 years ago, the jokes still land. They still get a laugh from the audience. I love the creativity from the musical numbers, the dance sequences, and this film did something I thought would never happen in a million years. It actually made me want to learn how to dance, guys. I wanted to learn how to tap dance. I wanted to learn how to move so fluidly across the dance floor. I wanted to be like Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly just made dancing look so damn cool. Walk down the right path of my number 9 choice, Sin City, and you could find anything. Like most of the films on the list, I remembered being absolutely blown away when I saw Sin City. It was the first graphic novel-based film I ever saw, and I fell in love with its visual style and tone. I never saw anything like it before. It's so enthralling, you just get lost in the story. You're so intrigued by what's happening, and you want to see more. And I must give praise to Robert Rodriguez's keen creative vision. This film would never have gone off the ground without his help, and he did phenomenally with this film. I just wish he would just come back and make more films like this. Come on, what happened to you, Robert? Why did you sell out and make crappy sequels and crappy kids films, man? No! Traversing the Galaxy at number 8 is WALL-E. Now you all know why this film is on the list. Not only does it have gorgeous animation, solid storytelling, great direction by my boy Andrew Stanton. Not only is it fun, creative, inventive, and hilarious, but this film pulled off the one thing I thought would never be possible. It still baffles me to this day how they were able to pull it off. It made me believe and fall in love with a robot couple. And I have to give props to Andrew Stanton and his team of writers. They actually made these characters so interesting and they humanized them to the point where we relate to them. We root for them. We want them to fall in love with each other. And the relationship between Wally and Eve is so damn cute. Demanding the truth but not being able to handle it is my number 7 choice, A Few Good Men. Not only is this arguably one of the best performances Tom Cruise has ever given in his career, but this is just such a well put together court drama film. In fact, it might just be one of the best court drama films I've ever seen. It was riveting from beginning to end. There's not a single moment in the film that I would have taken out or that I would have shortened. It's perfect the way it is. I mean, I just was so enthralled by the story, the characters, seeing whether or not they were gonna get off the hook, found not guilty and all that good stuff. But I think the main reason that this film is on this list is because this film undoubtedly has a moment that I consider to be a perfect scene. A scene that can stand on its own without any of the other parts of the film. Like if you were to just make this a short film called A Few Good Men and you had Tom Cruise just interrogating Jack Nicholson's character of Colonel Jessup, that could be a short film in its entirety and it's perfect. Wouldn't change a single thing about it. That scene right there made the movie for me. And it's actually the one part of the film that I rewatch the most. I repeat it over and over and over again. I am the choice at number 6 now. Oh brother, where art thou going now? Much like Shrek, this was the only live action film that I rewatched constantly as a kid. Whenever we would go on long drives from San Diego all the way to Los Angeles, the one film I would always bring with me is Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and it never got old. The characters are fun, it's hilarious, the journey is interesting, the direction is good. Not wearing hockey pads in the number 5 spot is The Dark Knight. The film that propelled the superhero genre to new heights and proved to everyone that superhero films can be deep, thought-provoking, sophisticated, smart, and dark and gritty. In Nolan we trust indeed, as Christopher Nolan was able to give us such a powerhouse of a film that delivers on almost every end. From great direction, great writing, great cinematography, spectacular and thrilling action sequences, and some really, really amazing performances from the cast, especially Heath Ledger as the unforgettable Joker. Assembling at the number 4 spot is The Avengers. What? Tony, you picked The Avengers over The Dark Knight? Fuck you, man. We hate that. Unsubscribe, dislike, I hate this video. Please, you all knew I was gonna pick The Avengers over The Dark Knight, as I had so much fun watching The Avengers, and it was the culmination of a 5-year plan to bring all of these superheroes together in one film, and it paid off in flying colors, guys. It is so well done, so thrilling, so much fun. Everything about it really stood out to me, and it's still memorable to this very day. No other film is ever really gonna touch The Avengers when it comes to building such a creative, interesting, and well put together universe. Making you an offer you can't refuse is my number 3 choice, The Godfather. This film is nearly 3 hours long, and this might be one of the only films on the list that the moment I finished watching it, I watched it again. It's that good. It is the quintessential gangster film. And it's so well directed, so well acted, so well written. I mean, I can't think of a single person that can hate this film besides the fact those people who think it's overrated, like, oh, it's too good and everyone talks about how great it is, that's why I hate the film. You need to shut the hell up because it deserves all the praise that it gets. I can't even think of another gangster film that even comes close to The Godfather. That's how great it was. I mean, yeah, sure, I love Goodfellas. Godfather Part 2 was pretty good, and there's a bunch of other gangster films like The Departed and all that stuff that are really good, but you can't beat the Alpha and the Omega. Oh, we just can't wait to be king at the number 2 spot, The Lion King. Now, as much as I profess that Singing in the Rain is probably the best musical I've ever seen, I might have to put a little asterisk on that and say it's the best live action musical I've ever seen. Nothing comes close in the live action category, but when it comes to animated musicals, The Lion King is literally toe-to-toe with it, as it too is so creative, so colorful, and has many catchy and memorable musical numbers. You'll find yourself singing along the moment that you hear just the first few notes. Like the minute you hear, you're gonna be like, Circle of Life. And this film is one of 2 films that when they re-released it in theaters, I went to see it immediately. I had to see it on the big screen. So now you're probably wondering to yourselves, what could possibly be number 1? What film beat out the likes of The Lion King, The Godfather, Singing in the Rain, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and all the other films to be at the top of the list? Well, that film can only be Pulp Fiction. I bet some of you saw this coming, as I've talked about this film in ad nauseum, as I love this film to death. And it's the film that actually made me fall in love with the art of filmmaking. Like the moment that I saw this film kicked my ass. It blew my freaking mind. I couldn't believe that you can tell a story like this. I mean, it was told out of order and it followed all these different characters. I never saw a film like that before when I first saw Pulp Fiction. And I love the dialogue. The dialogue is just so interesting, even though the dialogue itself has nothing to do with the story being told. Like the dialogues are all their own separate things. Like if you think back to the conversation between Jules and Vincent as they're heading to go meet up these guys and kill them, nothing in that conversation really ties in to what's about to happen later on. It's just a little random conversation between 2 people that have kind of a close relationship and they're just bonding with each other. That's freaking incredible. The action in the film, although not plentiful, is still well handled. The direction, the writing, everything about it is near perfection in my opinion. No, scratch that. It is perfection in my opinion. It's just so great, and it's a film that I constantly find myself going back to time and time again. If ever I want to see some interesting dialogue, some great and interesting characters, a great story, I go to Pulp Fiction immediately. And the music too. The music complements this film to a T. They picked the right songs to really emulate a scene, like make it even better in my opinion. So that's why I chose Pulp Fiction as the number 1 film that I constantly rewatch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was my list of the top 20 films that I constantly rewatch. And I would love to know what you guys thought about my list. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And let me know what are some films that you find yourself rewatching from time to time. Comment below, let me know, and I will have another top 10 list coming out either later today or tomorrow. It's also movie themed, so stay tuned for that. Some more videos coming your way, hopefully some anime reviews, some movie reviews, so much to do! Oh my god! But anyway guys, till the next video, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony White II, the cinephile known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace YouTube!